Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. Yes, this is Ursie, and I'm back to talk a little bit more about those royal fixed stars of Persia. The four stars, the royal stars that hold up the heavens, just like the 4 points of a square, the foundation of holding up the heavens by which everything else can be charted, navigated, time can be set, calendars can be made. This is going back 2 and even 3,000 years ago. Okay, that Persian Empire. Let's see. Today we're going to talk about a third royal star. Let me share my screen with you. Here we go. This time we're going to be talking about Aldebaran. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. I looked it up to see if someone could tell me, how do you say it? Is it Aldebaran? 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 Okay, I'll just go with Aldebaran in Taurus constellation. And yes, that is Taurus as we know it in the zodiac, the sign of the bull. Okay, back in the day, the bull in the time of Taurus was very much revered. Aldebaran, the fixed royal star, sits in Taurus's constellation, and it's known as the bull's bloodshot eye. They call out bloodshot only because it's a beautiful red star. I know that the image I'm sharing is not bright red, but it's the best I could find. All right. Its scientific name is Alpha Tauri. So again, whenever there is a star within a constellation that is the brightest, they'll call it Alpha. Next in line will be Beta, etc. If you know your lettering. Ay, 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 the Greeks. Okay, this particular royal star is associated with none other than the energy of Archangel Michael. Now, I could just pause there and we could talk about Michael energy, but let me just finish through this slide and then we'll get back to Michael because it's an incredible energy to hold this idea of the top archangel of all the other angels. But this big star, the royal star Aldebaran, is the watcher of the east. Remember, we have the watcher of the north, south, east, and west. Well, this star is associated with divine assistance. Okay, so think about that angel when you call in Michael. You're calling for assistance. There's usually an issue and you need support. The color associated with Aldebaran is the blue ray. Sometimes the blue moves towards indigo and sometimes towards violet, but its overall predominant color is blue. The element associated of the four elements that we work with, earth, air, fire, water, this is the earth element, Taurus. All right. If you find in your natal chart, working with Julia Balaz's free online calculator at galacticastrochart.com, and if you see there's something in your natal chart that says Aldebaran, Taurus constellation, then really in particular, circle the dates May 31st and October 1st on your calendar. Now, if you're sitting like most of us in the northern hemisphere, what we do is during the daytime of May 31st is the premium time to meditate. And then October 1st, the premium time to meditate is in the evening to this fixed royal star Aldebaran. Now it gets reversed if you're in the southern hemisphere. Then on May 31st, you would meditate during the evening, and October 1st, you would do daytime. Okay, it has to do with the star, where it sits with the sun and the earth. So that's where I put in the words conjunction and opposition. But basically, just remember, if you're in the north, sit down and meditate on May 31st during the day and on October 1st during the evening. There's the red eye of the bull. Now, here's another image coming from the box of stars. Here it is. And see, this image, here's the red eye of the bull, Taurus, pointing out the red eye, so it's easy to find. And here's that little word Aldebaran right there. Okay. Again, these fixed star cards help me because it shows me, oh, it's not just one star in a constellation, but many. Okay, here's the constellation Aries and then Taurus. So it all starts to make sense when you start looking at how do I associate what star with which constellation and then where in the heavens is it? Okay, so the next slide I have, so the red eye of the bull. Now, up here to the left, can you see this big orange, red-orange ball? And that little dot up there is our sun in comparison to the fixed star Aldebaran. Can you see why it is associated with Archangel Michael? It's huge, and I mean huge. Okay. Now, remember the blue ray? This is why I have the blue lettering. But here it is, Taurus the bull up in the skies, Aldebaran. All right, you can see the Pleiades is an offshoot. This is what I didn't know until recently when Julia told me. I said, "Where's the Pleiades constellation?" She said, "It's a cluster. It's part of the Taurus constellation." So, for anyone who didn't know that, I'm sharing it. Here's the Pleiades cluster in the Taurus constellation. And all these little dots are stars. But Aldebaran is the largest, brightest star, humongous, and it's also one of the 4 royal stars that holds up the heaven. Imagine that. Just love learning. But just see how size matters in this case. Let me stop sharing. That is like beyond amazing because for us on planet Earth, we're looking out at our sun and thinking, thank you, sun. Thank you. You're so bright. You're the giver of life or death. If we don't get enough sun, you know, and yet when we compare our sun, our star named Sol, to Aldebaran, there's no comparison. We're like a speck on a speck on a speck. And here's this big Aldebaran. Well, I so enjoy learning about these fixed stars, but the royal stars called out to say, start here. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to share my screen in a moment to give you just a little bit more. Okay, I wanted to come back to this first slide that I showed when I was talking about the 4 royal stars. Here we see Aldebaran. It is associated with the vernal equinox. That means the spring. Spring begins. So that is the energy that Aldebaran holds. Now, exactly opposite is Antares, which is the fall equinox. So you go like 6 months out. Do you see the division? Regulus and Fomalhaut hold the energy of the 2 solstices, summer and winter. But for the equinoxes, it's Aldebaran and Antares. Easy to remember. A for Aldebaran, A for Antares, equinox. All right, so let me pause for a minute. Okay, here we go. I'm back on the site called Astrology King by Jamie. And in it, you can just learn a little bit more of the narrative around this fixed star. Okay, so here we see the bull. And again, we now know that the red eye of the bull is the royal star Aldebaran. All right, I'm scrolling down here. Now, remember back in ancient times, there was like, oh, watch out for poisoning or watch out for death by drowning. So you almost have to look at these stories, the good and the not so good, and the really not so good, as stories and narratives of that time. So hold the energy. But I wanted to come down here. Dun, dun, dun. What was I going to show you? Yeah. Okay. So, you know, one of the good things about this star, because everyone wanted Aldebaran highly activated in their charts in the old days, was because it was a marker for riches and honor. Again, holding up the sky as one of the royal stars. I'm going to stop sharing. What I take away now in 2022 is, going back to this beautiful card by Diana Cooper of Archangel Michael. Okay, each of us can call in this angelic energy. We're in a time of need. But if you have Aldebaran in your chart and your natal chart, my puppy is snoring, it could say that you have this capacity to be the leader. You can be ahead of the time. And so that's good. But you also have to be careful of the people who might think, oh, you're kind of putting yourself too far ahead. That leadership is fine if people want to follow you, but it's not if it's too far ahead of its time. What am I saying? In each case with these royal stars, um, you have to hold the balance of, yay, I have a fixed star alignment. But how do I want to hold riches and honor and leadership with this idea of, oh, um, potential danger from jealousy? It's just these narratives. For me, everything and all the stories you go within, or I go within and just say, okay, well, it's the internal conflict. If I'm telling myself it's time to step out, but the other part of me says, no, it's not time. You're too far ahead. You'll be thought of as odd. Too late for that, right? So here's how we hold the space. I'm going to end this little chat by just sharing a little bit of what Diana Cooper's message with Archangel Michael is for us. Her message is stand in your power, be true to yourself. And each of us, given those dates that I shared, can sit and hold this amazing, beautiful star energy, a royal star energy, to help us navigate in our own cosmos. All right. Hope that was helpful. I have one more royal star to share, and that's coming soon. That will be about Antares. See you next time on the Ascension Playground. Bye for now.